It's time to pop the top off with Pub Talk. Today, we have the Thanksgiving edition of Pub Talk. We got Pub Talk All-Stars, Hops of the Week, college football. It's Rivalry Week, people. And we got NFL football in a brand new segment to finish it all off. But before we begin, Pub Talk is brought to you by Route 11 Chips. It's football season. Weekends are all about college and NFL football. Just by sitting on the couch or throwing a huge party, you're going to need some chips. And Route 11 has got you covered. Since 1992, Route 11 has been chipping away to give its consumers a great and tasty product. So make sure you check out your local Martin's, Food Lion, and Giant to pick up a bag today. All right, lights, beer, action. To the pub. It's Thanksgiving week here in the pub. Welcome back to Pub Talk. We have a special. No, go ahead.
Nothing. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, it's the best week of football, even though the football games on Thanksgiving are always awful. It's the best week of football. You get to
sleep through them anyway.
I know exactly, because the first game, the Detroit Lions game, that always gets you pumped up, right?
Oh, you mean you're not going to watch the dog show instead?
Oh, Westminster Kennel Club?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, welcome back to Pub Talk. We have another special guest here today. The professor has joined us here today. And, well, how we doing today? You get the week off, basically, for Thanksgiving, just like us now. And how we doing today, the professor?
Well, hey, at least I don't have to travel this year. That's the nice part.
Oh, yeah. It's always good not traveling.
Oh, yeah. Not like some other guest that was supposed to show up and his wife ragged on him enough that he had to leave early.
Now you just got to travel up to the line again to get more food.
Right.
From the couch to the line.
Right. That's it. Yeah. Back into the food trough.
So welcome back. We're going to go ahead and start off with Pub Talk All-Stars.
Yep.
We have Line of Sight, which is back in the house tonight.
Oh, man, what a great beer.
Yeah, this is the first time I've tried it, and I'm thoroughly impressed with it.
We're going to go try and check out the brewery this weekend, and I'm excited, especially if I can buy it in bulk, because whoever made it, because we found conflicting things. We've seen Chantilly in Virginia, but we also seen Colorado, Denver and Colorado, which is actually on the label. But everything that we've seen on their website says it's made in Chantilly, Virginia. So if we get a chance, I'm going to buy in bulk. And then I'm drinking a Squatch ale, aged in a Scotch barrel, brewed and bottled in Chaos Mountain Brewing, Callaway, Virginia. Great beer. It sounds like being aged in a Scotch barrel would be a little bit more potent. It's not. It's not over the top. It's got a great flavor to it. So I enjoy it.
Not too smoky.
No, it's not. Not at all.
I'll have to try that after I finish this one.
Yeah.
So it's Thanksgiving week. Everyone should be on break, hopefully, if you're in the right profession. And I hope we're in the right profession, because it's rivalry week here for football. And it's also, of course, the best week of football. You get to sit down with a full belly of food. But we got a lot to talk about football, but we're going to start off with Hops of the Week because we want to get into it.
Get it out of the way.
So anybody want to start off, or do you want me to go?
You want
to
start? Let's let the guest start, because he had a great one to start out with, and we're going to hear a little bit about it.
Go ahead, Professor.
Just it popped up on a couple websites, is that over the weekend they had a critic screening of a film that's going to come out right around Christmas time in a limited run, and then after January 10th, run across the country. It's a film called 1917.
What war would that be?
Well, do the math. It's about World War I, and it's the brainchild of Sam Mendes, who directed both Skyfall and Spectre. And he had this story about his grandfather that served during the First World War, and got together with a screenwriter, and they came up with this story, which is loosely based on his grandfather's story. It's about two basically just grunts in the British Army who are given an order. They've got to go find a battalion that has moved too far forward, and they're walking into some kind of German ambush.
And how many men? I think it was 1,600 men.
1,600,
Yeah,
yeah.
1,600 men are going to lose their life. They're going to get slaughtered.
And
if the message doesn't get through.
And the gist of the story is they've got to deliver that message, or the battalion's wiped out, massacred. Yeah. And part of the storyline is a brother of one of these guys is actually in that battalion.
Right. I remember seeing in the film clip that they show you. And we're going to talk about it because we're going to watch a segment or the preview from it. And we're going to talk through some of the things that you see. One of the things that grabs you right away is the scenery and the costumes. To have a period piece that's over 100 years old being set in the 21st century is nothing short of amazing.
And one of the big buzz from all the critics is the fact that this has Oscar buzz about it.
Right.
The fact that
was about the filming too, because it's filmed as a one-shot.
Yeah, it's
piece.
Called a continuous shot. Roger Deakins, who won an Oscar for the cinematography in Blade Runner 2049, he did the lens work on this film. And, of course, Mendez directed. And they brought in some guy who's also does the musical score. He's won an Oscar. And the early buzz is that this has an inside track for at least Best Picture, if not Best Director. And that's just based on just the critics just seeing this clip. So I think it... And from how they explain what a continuous shot is, there's no break. It's one continuous, and it's only one camera. They're not jumping from camera to camera. It's all one camera work.
We showed a movie, a critically acclaimed movie, 12 Years a Slave, and the scene where the one woman, Patsy, gets whipped is a continuous feed. There's no camera break in there at all. It was filmed all in one take. And it's nothing short of amazing. So, and to put a war epic in place and have that take place, it's stunning to watch. So,
and what's interesting, some of the critics say this is probably the best war movie that has been produced since at least Saving Private Ryan back in the 90s. And in fact, they said Spielberg, he's going to have to cut the mustard here to try to,
Well, don't challenge him. He just come up with something better.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so TJ, we want to watch this thing and get a good look at it. So hopefully we'll get some good sound for you.
Bring your kit.
I hope today might be a good day.
Go to full screen so we can watch it in full screen
Is it
on a
dangerous?
computer screen. It looks really good. Benedict Cumberbatch, really strong. He's got a great.
I have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack.
So I can't get over just the makeup, the whole costume.
Be a massacre.
Yeah, I mean, it's right on. It kind of, the cinematography, particularly the background, it gives you
I mean, they're showing you no man's land and things like that.
No one will get to your brother. I will.
Sort of like a man on a mission. I got to get there.
Yeah.
There won't be any. There's no way I'm not going to get it done kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a sequence here where you see a plane coming at the screen and these two guys are running.
That right there in
right
the
here
trailer,
with that plane coming at them. How do you do that? How do you make that up?
Yeah. And the scene just prior to that where, you kick a door open and it's you or the German on the floor and who can pull the trigger first.
Right.
So.
Like he's waiting on you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Keep moving. Come on.
And a lot of the background here, if you've seen Dunkirk, you get the same kind of feel from like Dunkirk because basically they shot in the same places in France.
Right.
So.
That's the thing that grabs me is just the scenery. I mean,
If you don't get
for them to be able to.
We will lose 1,600 men.
There it is, 1,600 men.
Your brother among them. Good luck.
This scene at the end where it closes out. Yeah, I can't wait for that to come out. It looks just the look of it.
Yeah, that in and of itself, I mean, definitely going to give a run for anybody who is an aficionado of war films.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to be on that bucket list. You got to hit that
Definitely.
film. Yeah. So yeah, that's my big hop of the week.
Yeah, definitely a good start. My hops of the week. My hops of the week is to say goodbye to my seniors that I coached this past season. Last night we had our banquet. It was bittersweet to walk away from my guys. Nothing brings me more joy than to watch these young guys that I had as freshmen grow up, and now they're seniors, and they're grown, they're mature, and when they look at you've seen that I think I did the right thing with them. I wasn't always perfect. I didn't always say the right thing. I probably didn't always. I don't know. I try to motivate them. I try to do what I was supposed to do, but it's just so hard and it's bittersweet. But it's really cool when you see your players walk away and they hug you and they thank you for the time that they had. So that's my hops of the week. Missing my seniors after 25 years in the game, to have another group walk away from you is bittersweet. But I'm gonna miss them, and I'm gonna get another senior class next year. So I'll take it.
Just reload every year.
Yep. Yep. That's where it's at.
Well, my hops of the week is more. It's more of my regime being upset and pissed off. So, Penn State, Sean Clifford, the quarterback who went out in the Ohio State game. This actually translates back to the Indiana week. He deleted his social media account because he was receiving multiple death threats and from Penn State fans. This isn't from outside. This is from actual, Happy Valley fans, right? Happy Valley. No, this I wish that I wish that I would be more shocked, but then I remember that college football fans, out of every single
They're
sport,
dickheads. That's
out of
just
every single sport, they are the biggest whiny bitches in the world. When you compromise their team or try to, I guess, want to hate their team or down their team at any point in time, they will come back with I'll come and kill your whole family and stuff. Just pull the highest bunch of BS you can think of. And I really I look at this story and people are shocked, and I'm like, I'm really not shocked. That's what college football fans do.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the Clemson North Carolina game where they made the Clemson or the North Carolina AD apologize for putting jokes on the jumbo board, and they were just all harmless fun. It wasn't anything serious.
Right.
Just it doesn't change because but that's my hops of the week, because we're going to get right into college football.
Right.
Well, I tell you what, just to build on that, you're going to hear a bunch of that with that game Sunday or Saturday at noon.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's already started.
Sure.
No question.
Rivalry. I can't even say it either.
Oh yeah,
rivalry week. It's
Sally shows, she shows, probably she short.
How much can a woodchuck wood?
Yeah.
Yeah, but rivalry week here at college football, it's the last week for the FBS. The FCS is already
they started their playoffs.
Completed their season. They North Dakota State is number one once again.
Of course
they have gone through now 3 head coaching changes, still number 1 in the country, no question about it. James Madison gets number 2.
Right.
So
where they've been.
Yeah, they get to buy too.
Well,
you
think about the last 5 years in FCS football, and it's either been 1 and 2, 2 and 1 between North Dakota State and
JMU.
And think about in that same time frame how much coaching changes they've done at Madison too.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same way exactly because. This is a brand new system with JMU, but the system hasn't changed on defense. They still run the same scheme. Yeah. But they fixed the one issue that was going on, which was their offense. A stale type of offense.
No shit, they actually have a tight end.
I know, right? They actually run 2 tight end formations.
I almost shit my pants. I saw them in 2 tight end set. I was like, holy cow, that's not an inside run play, is it?
And that's the thing about North Dakota State. I know we're going on the FCS, but North Dakota State, they're not anything spectacular with their formations or anything that pops off the screen that says they're Ohio State. They're nothing like that. They stay true to their game, which is solid physical defense and ground and pound the football down your throat. That's what they've been doing.
It comes down to discipline and execution.
Exactly.
And they do it so well that you don't beat that.
It drives you
Discipline, execution.
insane. It's like, how are you guys so good? It's because
Right.
we've been waiting in the deep sea for this.
Well,
for a
we've
long
said this
time.
before, and we've argued this on our show. Would you rather do 10,000 things really good, or would you do one thing 10,000 times precise? And you'd take that one thing, because if it's 3rd and 3 and you need 3 yards, well, North Dakota State knows exactly what the hell they're going to do
Yeah.
in that situation, and they pretty much say to themselves, 3 yards, come on, we're going to get 5.
Well,
We're gonna-
think about it. That's the same mentality that the service academies use when they play.
Sure.
I mean, they do the same.
And that's
thing.
going to be a game coming up here
Yeah.
next
Yep.
week. That is
Yep.
the most
Yeah.
prestigious game, and like
the pageantry is just amazing. in
it
that
is.
game.
You talk about Michigan, Ohio State. It still doesn't even compare to the whole country basically having armed forces.
Yep.
And the one thing you could talk to them about, if like you're a Marine, if you are from the Navy, they'll say, "Hey, go beat Navy, go
Right.
beat Army." It
Right.
doesn't matter. That's the
Yeah,
one thing. It's the most
exactly.
prestigious
Yep.
football game in the country. But it's rivalry. Fuck! It's rivalry week.
You sure you don't want that beer?
No, I'm good. And the number one rivalry is Ohio State versus Michigan. And
Yep.
this year it's different because I look at what Michigan has done since that Penn State game.
And I told you.
And since that Penn State game, they have been nothing but spectacular. I thought it was a trap game against Indiana.
Right.
I really thought
They
that Michigan
dominated
would
Indiana.
lose to Indiana.
Dominated
It
them.
was it wasn't even it wasn't a game.
It was more so dominating than when Penn State beat Indiana the week before.
Yep, exactly.
It was fabulous.
And you look at Ohio State, they are absolutely vulnerable when it comes to the quarterback position in their offense. Now, no, not their offense. It's just the quarterback position. J.K. Dobbins, I don't think he gets enough love in this country. The dude squats 700 pounds.
Yes, he is. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a smaller Ezekiel Elliott. He's just as efficient.
From the quarterback position.
No,
J.K.
J-
Dobbins, the
okay.
running
J.K.
back.
Dobbins is the
Okay.
running
Oh
back.
man, he's just so efficient with the ball, and he's a run through the arm tackle guy. You had to put multiple
was-
bodies on him in order to put him on the ground. He's so dynamic that
We'll get to it here later when we talk about that game, but there was probably only 3 runs, I want to say, where J.K. Dobbins was met and went backwards. The rest of them
Right, and that's
falling
rare.
forward.
That's
yes,
rare.
exactly. So, but this game, though, Michigan, they've been playing – it's
Lights
like
out.
I've been saying, guys, you're not going to play for a national championship, but go out there and beat who you can and
Well,
just prove
But
everybody.
you're absolutely right, because you think about it. I mean, Michigan doesn't really have a chance.
No, they don't.
beat
No,
them.
they got 2 losses. There's no way they're getting in.
So their game of
they're
the season,
4th on the list outside of the bubble.
Yeah. exactly.
So their game of the season
Is this one.
Is this one?
This
Yeah.
is their national championship.
This is their Rose Bowl. This is
This is a chance for them to get to the Rose Bowl,
yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
It depends on what the Big Ten championship
Yeah,
is
I'm
like.
not saying, but it's
No,
a
the
shot.
Rose Bowl is in the playoff this year. They can't make it to the Rose Bowl.
Okay.
So that's taken out of it.
All right. Well.
The other one that
I'll eat
actually
shit
is
on that one.
Yeah, I just now remembered it, honestly. The other rivalry game is a chance for Minnesota to make the Big Ten championship because they got to play Wisconsin here. And they can make the Big Ten championship in PJ Fleck's second season, and they can face Ohio State. It's already said and done that Ohio State's basically going to make the Big Ten championship.
Yep.
So,
Well, it's a statement game for Minnesota. Can the Fightin' Flex get to the biggest game that they'll play? Wisconsin's no pushover.
No, certainly.
They're absolutely no pushover. At the
And
beginning
that-
of the
and that-
season,
yeah,
I'd
that
have told
game,
you
yeah.
if the two faced each other, Wisconsin was going to walk a mud hole in them or stomp a mud hole and walk it dry. That's not happening now,
it's in Minnesota.
and it's going to be played in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, outdoors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And if the weather, Wisconsin's not opposed to playing in bad weather and stuff, but you're dyed-in-the-wool Minnesota.
Well, have you seen the forecast? Too?
No.
The forecast. They're
Tell me
talking
bitter
about-
cold and snow.
No, they're talking bomb cyclone traffic in the Midwest is going to be to a standstill over Thanksgiving. I mean, it's going to be like frozen tundra in
Nice.
Minnesota.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah, literally.
An ice bowl for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the only other rivalry game, because the Army-Navy game isn't played this weekend, but it's Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Like, Oklahoma still has a chance to
I'm a man.
mostly make the playoff, but like I just would not count them in, honestly.
Oklahoma?
Yeah, they just had
Oklahoma's-
too much of a ladder
They're-
to climb.
They're 2 on the depth chart. They're behind Utah. Utah's number 5.
Yeah, and we'll start that here in a sec, but I just don't think that they can outsmart Utah, who's playing UCLA.
Right.
They're playing nobody this weekend for Utah, and they have an easier road to get into the playoff for Utah.
Right. The only other game that I can see even
No, they're playing
remotely
Colorado,
having the
my
only
fault.
other game that I can even remotely see having an impact
The Iron Bowl.
Is the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, not only the Iron Bowl, but the battle for South Carolina, Clemson and South Carolina.
Yeah.
Who knows what South Carolina team's going to show up? You don't know.
It could be the team that beat Georgia early, or it could be lay down and nothing.
Yeah, and give up 45.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm not thinking that.
I really don't think so.
I don't
Clemson
think
has
so.
just been looking
Clemson
so good.
they belong in the top 5. Period.
Yeah.
And you have to prove a lot to me in order to knock them out. And we've argued this earlier, past weeks on the show. Clemson to me is the king. They are the undefeated, undisputed national champions until you knock them off.
Exactly.
Don't tell me that LSU should be ranked above them. I just don't believe that for a second. I don't believe Ohio State should be ranked above
I
them.
don't believe it anymore.
Just
Ohio
simply
State has shown
just because
vulnerability.
they finished the season last year, they're 18-0 and they haven't shown any let up. Okay, so they had a close one with North Carolina. Okay, big deal. Big deal.
Yeah, but even in that game, they still persevered and they won the game.
Yeah.
It's not like
at the end of the day,
not like,
their schedule is their schedule. They beat who they beat, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So I'm down with that.
So I want to talk about there wasn't the best slate of college football games this past weekend, but there was 2. The first one I want to talk about, though, was a team that was number 6. They had a chance to continue their resume after losing to Auburn in the first week of the season, and that was Oregon. Oregon was looking into the playoff and saying, hey, we have a chance to actually still make the playoff, and you lose to Arizona State. You lose to Arizona State. It's a bad loss. Justin Herbert did not look like the quarterback that people were saying he looked like the past 11 weeks.
Early on they looked fantastic, but Arizona State just kept coming.
It's like Herm Edwards just basically pulled his boys aside and said, like, just this is your national championship. If you win
play
this,
to win the game.
If you win this, we go to a bowl game. So just do your best out there.
Yeah, do your
job. And they did. And I look at Oregon and I go, dude, Arizona State, they're not that good. They really aren't. They only could beat Michigan State by 3 points. That's it. And you also have to see that Arizona State is 6-5, 6-6. Like, that's not good for Oregon to lose a game like that. It's just like Oklahoma losing to Kansas State. But Oregon, you just lost your chance, man. And Justin Herbert, you just cost yourself the Heisman. You really just cost yourself the Heisman. Everyone says that you're the pro style quarterback. You're the guy that people are going to go after because of your stature, because of what you do, and because of your size. Guess what? It's not happening anymore, especially against a low-tier Pac-12 team like Arizona State. It's just not going to happen.
Oh, since you mentioned it, what do you think is going to happen at Michigan State at the end of the season?
I think that D'Antonio still will stay there. I think that he has it in with them, that they're just not going to let him go after 1 year.
I don't know.
Of a bad
Let
season.
me put it this way. My in-laws are alumni from Michigan State. Go green, go white shit I hear all the time from them. And they were there for the Penn State game when Penn State rolled over top of them.
Yeah.
And they came back from that game, and they basically said, from what they can hear, because for some reason, my father-in-law is one of these guys that can able to schmooze his way into the president's box. And he said, talking to some of these big power alumni, that there is so much baggage over that whole gymnastics, NCAA, all that stuff, that anybody with the old regime is out. The only one protected is the basketball coach. But everybody else,
Tom Izzo.
Izzo's the only protected
And
entity.
he was drawn into some of that garbage as well.
Yeah.
And he had to fight his way out legally and through his own voice. The thing that gets me about their football coaching staff is they've been nothing short of phenomenal. And when I say that, I'm talking about making chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
because,
mean?
I mean, you can't recruit best, when you're going against Michigan and Ohio State.
And Wisconsin, who's nearby.
Yeah.
he gets a lot of mileage out of the guys he does. So they had a down season this year. It's a damn shame if your alumni impact your football program to the point where your athletic director and the president of the university want to remove the one guy that has built your program through. Guess what's going to happen? He's going to leave that school, or they're going to force him to leave, and he's going to come back with another team, and he's going to demolish the shit out of Michigan State.
I think you also have to see, as a Michigan State fan, you have beaten Jim Harbaugh every single year except for this one.
Yeah.
Okay, boo-hoo, you lose this one because, as he said, you had chicken shit this year.
Right.
And it's bad. It is, but it happens. But
Right.
you have beaten Jim Harbaugh, the king of recruiting up in that area, for the past 4 seasons before this one that he's been there. And that says something. Even in the big house, you have done that.
Yeah.
Even in the big house, you have still beaten him. And so I say that doesn't sound like a bad coach to me. You make a Rose Bowl, you make a college football playoff. It happens. You have bad seasons.
Right. It goes in cycles.
But like I said, it shows you the power that the alumni have, and the fact you're working with a new university president, a new AD over all that fallout, and they just want to clean house.
Yeah.
And he's
And that's
on the
a damn
chop block.
shame.
Yeah, it is.
Damn shame.
And I agree with you. If he shows up at some other Big Ten school,
Look out.
look out.
Sorry about your luck.
Yeah,
because
paybacks are a bitch.
Yep, and they are. They will always be that way. So I'm down with that.
So the other top matchup, though, from this weekend was Ohio State versus Penn State. You had number 2 Ohio State versus number 9 Penn State. And everyone, it happened all fucking week. I'm calling 45 for Ohio State. I'm calling fucking 50. It's over at halftime. I'm calling
a lot of
this
people
shit
said 42-10.
and that and this and that. And guess what? It's 28-17.
Yep.
It's 28-17.
It was 21-0 at one point.
Yeah,
at one point.
And the thing is, Penn State spotted them 21 points and then came back.
I know, but what I'm saying here is that Penn State's defense does not get the credit that they deserve. They never have all year, and they show that Micah Parsons and those guys like Yetur Gross-Matos is just as good. He could be just as good as Chase Young if he had a good team around him with that offense.
Yep, both those
Everyone
cats will be
talks
playing
about-
on Sunday.
Exactly. Everyone talks about Chase Young, and the reason is because he is put on that field more than anybody because their offense scores in 2 plays against these other opponents.
Right.
Yetur Gross-Matos is as big. No, he's taller than Chase Young. He's not as big, but he is just as tall, and he was the defining factor for the Penn State defense that game.
Yep.
So was Chase Young for Ohio State. He's the best player in college football right now. He is. But Yetur Gross-Matos, why is no one talking about him? He played just as damn well as Chase Young did, and they were losing the entirety of the game. And they made Justin Fields fumble twice.
Yep.
They made that offense look human.
Yep.
They did all those things right, and they still couldn't win. They still couldn't do it because at the end of the day, Ohio State is just better. I am not taking away from the fact that Penn State, as an offensive unit, is absolutely putrid. They are a terrible offense.
And when we talked
They
about
are.
this, they're just so bland. They're just bland. I didn't see any play action. In this day and age in college football and in high school football, you got the RPO system and you got all of this movement and you've got read option and all that stuff. I'm sorry, but when it comes down to it, when you have to put rubber to the road, a 2 tight end offense, a fullback, an H, and movement of the football and play action and counter game, they've been around the game for 100 years. Stop trying to be cute. Stop trying to be fancy. Penn State gets as good a recruits as anybody. They do.
All you have to do is ask Pitt.
Yeah, right.
That's apples to oranges in the
James
state of
Franklin
Pennsylvania.
gets freaking great recruits. You count the stars, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Get all these cats. Find a way to make your offense move. Stop being cute and get downhill on people. And Penn State has gotten away from that. It started with the Joe Moorhead era, going back a few years.
But you had a player like Saquon Barkley who can fit into that style of offense, but then you try and push it on Sean Clifford,
Right.
and you push it on these other guys, and it's like,
Put
hey,
McSorley
if
in.
it's not working,
Yeah.
why are you still running it? I don't understand that.
Right, and we've argued this I don't know.
Didn't
Ad
work against
nauseam,
Minnesota, and Minnesota's defense is awful. They are not good.
We argued this forever. It's like, stop trying to shoehorn players into your system and build a system around the players that you have.
Look at Baltimore.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. I mean,
You look at Baltimore, Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco are two completely different players.
Yep.
And what do? They changed the system for him.
Yep.
Go back to Philadelphia a couple years ago when they won the Super Bowl. Doug Peterson has the system for Carson Wentz, and they try and still use that with Nick Foles as he comes in. And Nick Foles looks awful. You think that the Eagles are going to lose in the first round of the playoffs.
and what does he do?
And he changes it, and they say it in the America's Game afterwards. They say, I went back to the tape and I looked at the Chip Kelly offense that he was in these run pass options, in these play action fakes. Nick Foles was dynamic, and what did they do? They scored multiple, and I mean 40 points on the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That doesn't happen. Okay? And
Yep,
I don't
yep.
understand what happens with coaches not wanting to switch up the systems to fit their players.
Yeah, and because when you look at most NFL offenses today, they're all the same offense, except for Baltimore.
Baltimore right now.
Baltimore
I mean,
has a unique offense.
That game Monday night, that looked like surgery.
Yeah, I
mean,
was going to say it was the perfect dissection of the Rams.
It was
they
like
nullified freaking Aaron Donald and the rest of their front.
I mean, they had Clay Matthews.
He
didn't have any idea what the hell was
right.
going on.
And Clay Matthews, I've never been a big fan of Clay Matthews, and it makes it even funnier to watch them play against him, and just put him on an island, and know that Clay Matthews is not even remotely good enough to slow down Lamar Jackson.
So
it's just not even fun.
now you understand why Green Bay got rid of him.
So
Well, we had a big argument over this. We had a big argument over the officials and stuff, and Clay Matthews talking about the officials. And it's like, oh yeah, well, how about you stop talking about the officials and worry about how you play the game?
Yeah.
You know?
So one more question. Who on college football? Who's the fourth team getting in? I already like LSU and Ohio State are getting in. I think their seasons have been saved, and then you also have Clemson, who
Clemson's going to get. I don't see them losing. They're going to get in.
Who's the
Well,
fourth?
think about it. Even Clemson. I mean, even if Virginia Tech comes through and does win their side, there's no way Virginia Tech's going to be able to beat Clemson.
Not
So
with
you
three
know,
losses.
you know they're going in. Clemson is. They just are.
LSU has to play the SEC championship has already
That'll
been
be a-
set.
that will be
It's
a big-
Georgia and LSU.
That will be a big teller.
Well,
I
but-
don't
but
think
both-
LSU drops out. LSU drops to number 4. Georgia rockets to number 2. If nobody else loses from here on out, with the exception of LSU and Georgia, they flip and they stay the same. And what I mean by that is Ohio State. If nobody else loses, Ohio State's number 1, Clemson number 2, Georgia number 3, and LSU, or Georgia number 1, or not Georgia number 1. Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia number 3, and LSU number 4.
Yeah,
They'll
because
flip-flop.
they're both one-loss teams. I mean, and that's one thing about the AC or the Southeastern Conference.
Right.
You can be a one-loss and still be playing for the national championship,
Right.
just based on strength of schedule.
Right. Right.
The question is,
Does Oklahoma sneak in there?
No, I still see.
Baylor?
I'm going to say Utah, man. I don't.
How cool would that be for
I
them
don't-
to make the playoffs
Utah
and then
has
shock
some great
somebody?
players on their team. They really do. That USC game was at the beginning of the year where they lost, and since then they haven't shown any signs of weakness in
Dominating.
the Pac-12. And then also,
You know who they remind me of? You know who Utah reminds me of it from an NFL perspective? Utah reminds me of the San Francisco 49ers. They just they have lower tier players and they just get shit done. You look at the San Francisco 49ers and the player makeup and the guys who are making plays from their team, and they're not Power 5 guys. You're
absolutely right about
They got a
that.
handful of guys, but for the most part, they're dynamic as hell.
personally, I think it's right to have a Pac-12 team in here because the Big 12 has shown no sign of being any good this year. They just haven't. They have beaten up on each other. Texas is 6-5.
Because their defenses are porous.
Texas,
their defenses are not. They're not equipped to play for a national championship. They're just not.
I know.
well, it's all about the show.
Yeah.
It's all about offense.
It's all about
It's all about offense in the Big 12. Nobody plays defense.
But unfortunately, there's going to be no high.
Come at me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
So let's go ahead and
Well, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You know, Utah could sneak in there. But
I see
they have
no
to win
re-
out in the Pac-12. They
I know
have to.
they would.
I
Have
think
to be,
they will. I think they will.
Because nobody else in the Pac-12.
They'll probably have to play Oregon for the Pac-12 championship. But other than that, what?
I was just pointing at him. Or the professor's having a Squatch. What do you think of that?
Well, I tell you what, this is pretty good.
Pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's got a nice smoky taste from the
Yep.
barrel. It goes down really smooth.
Yeah,
it really does.
it's aged in a Scotch barrel, and yet it doesn't have any. It doesn't have a real bite. It has it's good, clean finish. The best thing is that when it's really cold, it's even better when it's really, really ice cold.
But typically when you drink a single malt Scotch, it's like
Yeah, right.
after the fact, it's like, oh my god,
Right.
And it burns.
I just drank pure gasoline.
Yeah. Now I know what lighter fluid tastes like.
Right.
But yeah, it's smooth, it's
Yep.
clean. You just got enough smoke in it.
Chaos Brewing Squatch. Got that at Martin's.
And Martin's.
You can get them at Martin's. Yep.
So
At the Better Beer Store, Winchester, Virginia. Awesome.
let's get to
I'm
NFL
sorry.
football.
I'm sorry, but I was just having him.
No, that's fine. Let's just get to NFL football.
Uh-oh.
So we have the question down at the bottom, but I want to move it to the top.
Right.
Like, I still don't see like the Ravens. Just honestly, they're being good right now, but like it doesn't like jump off the tape, and I go ooh ha, and I'm like, I saw this shit last year with Kansas City,
Right.
and they lost
Right.
in the championship game to
Right.
the Patriots. I saw it a couple years ago with Carolina, and they lost in the Super Bowl to what? A better defense.
A better
and
defense.
A better
yeah,
team.
we talked about
Like,
that.
I get it.
multiple times. And I keep saying that we talked about that, but that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend, we're going to drive down to the city. We're going to be going down to Arlington and Alexandria and Chantilly, and we're going to be checking out breweries. And I guarantee you, we're going to be talking NFL football and who's going to be around and who's not. And I guarantee you that the topic of premier defense is going to come up, because when you get a second shot at a team, and
It all just falls apart then
right,
for him sometimes.
it's just so much different when you get a second shot at a team.
Because Baltimore was that team last year where they looked this good with Lamar Jackson. They did. They really did. And guess what happened when they went into the playoffs? They didn't change a lick.
Right.
They didn't change anything. And Los Angeles was one of those teams that had already played them. And Lamar Jackson looked below average, awful, pitiful in the playoffs. He just did.
Well, I think to build on that too, that's before Harbaugh made the decision of changing that offense. He was still trying to
Not
play.
in the regular season. It wasn't. It was late.
It was late. He was trying to make him a pocket passer during the playoffs, and that was a complete fiasco.
There was a great thing added to the game where they were talking about that, where he was saying, I was so used to throwing a college football was slightly smaller. And so I tried to put myself into this, like you were talking about, this new portion of my offense. And he's like, I just changed my grip on the ball, and I had to learn to throw the NFL ball. And once I could figure out how to throw a tighter spiral, things started to take off.
Yeah,
I started to have more success. And that makes a bit, that.
It makes some sense.
It
to me.
does, because he's looking in the right spot, but he can't get the ball there because of the fit and feel of the ball.
Could that be a problem with Haskins right now with the?
Maybe.
Because I mean,
I'm not a big fan of that kid
well,
either.
Well,
League done messed up.
well, that's the other deadbeat that didn't show up, who would have been standing on the table saying, Haskins is the new,
Right.
But how many times did he overfly somebody on Sunday?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So
The whole Redskins organization has overflown
God,
everybody.
Well, that's
just-
a fucking
It's not.
dumpster
what they
fire.
need to do-
It's not getting any better for that kid either way.
Yeah.
Even though he got his first NFL career.
literally, the military needs to call Broken Arrow right now. On that. Just go in there.
execute Order 66 on the Washington Redskins. Yeah.
Just drop
FedEx
some,
Field is gone.
Yeah, I know. It's
and
just
napalm
in the ground.
headquarters over there at Ashburn.
So like I said, that was a total domination by the Ravens last night.
Very,
As I
very-
said, I saw this with Kansas City last year. I saw oh my God, the googly eyes over a quarterback, and how he's changing the game, and he's just this and that and blah blah blah.
I
It
get
doesn't
that, but
matter.
the difference between the two teams, Kansas City and Baltimore, is Baltimore actually has a defense.
Oh yeah, you're right.
They
about that.
actually play defense. And so when you give a guy like Lamar Jackson an extra shot, an extra set of reps, it has to help.
Well,
when you can get off the field, that's huge at the NFL level. That's huge to get off the field. It's huge at any level, but in the NFL, when you can get one more set of downs, come on.
Well, and I tell you what, it does help the Baltimore defense when you can play from ahead instead of being behind.
Sure.
I mean, defenses can just tee off on
Yeah.
anybody.
Oh, give Ben Roethlisberger another set of downs to opportunity to in the fourth quarter. Give him another set of downs. See if he can't beat you. Give Tom Brady an extra. Holy shit! Give Drew Brees 3 more downs to beat you and
Well,
see what happens.
Going to overtime or almost to overtime to win that game, you gave them an additional one.
Right.
Yeah, you got a couple of additional downs. They got in close enough, kicked a field goal.
Kick the field goal, win the game.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so speaking of the Steelers, we'll start with the games, the best games, because there's some of these games here that are just terrible. And this is one of them. Like, this game was terrible. The Steelers played the Bengals, and the final score was 16-10, but
They
Mason
rocked it.
Rudolph gets benched.
For the Duck.
He's gone. The Duck is in. Devlin Hodges.
Devlin Hodges.
He throws a touchdown pass on his first drive. He comes in, he lights it up.
He looked mortal after that, but hey.
Yeah.
But I mean, and granted, I grew up in Western PA. I bleed black and gold. And you talk to folks back there, they're very kind of, Tomlin's not really the guy. But I tell you what, from being farther away in a perspective, I tell you what, Tomlin's doing a hell of a coaching job
They're
this
6
year.
and 5 right
They're
now
6 and
from
5.
a 0-3 start.
And
Yep.
think about that. No quarterback.
No, 1-4 start. Excuse me.
Yeah.
They were
No
1-4.
quarterback.
Not their guy. The guy that's been there for over a decade
No quarterback.
is not there.
You've got a running back.
He's got the perfect beer-holding arm.
Yeah. You got a running back who has shown the fact that he may not have the wherewithal to be able to put in a 16-game season.
Exactly.
And you've got your wide receivers who basically got concussed,
Right.
playing against you have nobody.
Right.
And they still pulled out a win.
Against
That
an
in and of
awful
itself.
Bengals team. I
Well,
mean,
but
that's true.
yeah,
you
no,
take
with
a
the
look at-
banged up team, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
with a banged up
You-
team playing a third-string quarterback,
Yep.
and you're playing a rookie as a running back, Snell from Kentucky.
Yep.
And you're still getting the job done.
Yep.
That in and of itself
That kid's
is
a baller, man.
Yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
him. I loved him in college the last 2 years, especially in a bowl game. Holy shit, that kid can play.
And it goes to the fact that the Pittsburgh mantra for years is you win championships with defense, and that defense has come full circle this season.
It's made me so happy to see it because it just when you saw Ben go out into the field, we knew we could score, but it was always the question of like, are we going
Could
to
the
be able to
defense hold
hold them?
anybody? Yeah.
Right.
Can we do it? And this year it's can we score? Can we do that? But even then, it's
Hey,
like our defense
Don't
is
tell
going to
me
score.
about can we score because I'm a damn Bears fan, and
I was-
don't fucking tell me that you're struggling about scoring.
We're going to get right
Yeah,
into
we'll
that.
get to
one.
that.
Oh, don't now you're gonna make
There was
me
a stat
depressed.
that came out for the Giants-Bears game that the Giants the Bears have not had over 300 yards of offense until today against the Giants. The Giants have let up over 300 yards against the Bears, and the Bears barely won, 19-14.
That's
and-
a 5-point victory.
They
That's
cover
not
the spread.
1918. I don't think so. I think they were 5-point favorites.
I'm through with your coach. I am.
No, I'm
I'm-
not through
I'm-
with him. I'm through with the guy that
I am
is-
through with both of them because of your. This is why I am tired of your coach, and this is why I'm tired of Trubisky.
You pointed
Trubisky,
your finger right at me. Don't.
I'm
ever
tired of
fucking do that.
Trubisky because he does fucking suck.
Well, don't parents say, if you point at me, I'm going to break that damn thing off your hand."
I'm snap that damn
But
finger.
I'm tired of Nagy because he keeps knowing that Trubisky sucks, but he doesn't run the ball. He keeps giving Trubisky the ball and keeps saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. Your leading rusher had 25 yards yesterday.
That's better than 24.
Or on Sunday.
Not quite as good as 26. but it's better
25
than
yards
24.
on 6 carries. That's it.
Is that
Your
passing
leading-
on a test?
Your leading rusher, Dave Montgomery only ran the ball 13
Yeah.
times. What is this offense? If you don't trust Trubisky, it sure seems like you're hiding it very well because you're not even giving the guy that you drafted in the second round, Dave Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, who's another Darren Sproles.
He's fantastic.
You're
And
not even giving these guys a chance.
Right.
You aren't. So what the fuck is the problem here?
Well,
You're right.
I
You're
tell
right.
you what, you went out and you got Khalil Mack, and he thought, okay, I'm a Super Bowl caliber team, and all of a sudden it's like, well, we'll be lucky we.
Well,
played
after
500.
last season, and
What?
they
Yeah.
played, they were dynamic as hell,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off, and then we start the season, and it looks okay. We lose a tough one to the Green Bay, and then all of a sudden it's just like we forgot how to win. And
Well, I tell you what,
And
watching Trubisky play, that guy definitely has digressed the entire season.
yeah, but he's never progressed in
Well,
my
that's
mind.
true.
You
That's
know what I
true.
mean? He's
He
never.
had 1 year in college, and he was picked
Yeah.
the number 2 overall pick in the.
I would say the same
in the
thing
NFL
about
draft.
Dwayne Haskins as well.
Okay, yeah, that's
You know
fine.
what I mean?
I'm not
They're
talking
very-
about in reference to him.
I'm saying that they're very comparable in the situations that they're in.
Well,
They don't have a lot of experience, and they didn't play for premier team. Haskins obviously did, and he had a record-setting career season. But at the end of the day, we're not talking about college. We're talking about the NFL.
Yeah.
And if you are not capable of making game-changing plays, this is the kind of shit we end up with. This is the kind of play that we end up, and we question whether, because like the Bears could have had Mahomes. You think about that. They could have had Deshaun Watson.
I was going to
And
say,
you think-
Mahomes, talk about one of the greatest college football players of all time, Watson.
Yeah, you think about
Deshaun
Deshaun
Watson.
Watson and Patrick Mahomes, and the
And-
Bears
and the-
traded up to get Trubisky.
and
Are you
everybody
shitting me?
passed on Jackson too,
Yeah,
and he dropped
well,
all the way down
yeah.
for Baltimore to get
Well,
him.
the fact that he
Well,
had
that was
such-
last year, though, with Mayfield.
Right, that was Mayfield.
In the
the
draft.
same kind of concept takes place is that we think we're smarter than we are, and it's obvious that we aren't. And I don't know, to think that Patrick Mahomes will be playing with the Chicago Bears, holy shit, with that defense last year.
It's
Goodness
just like
gracious.
Yeah.
it's just like you go back to Philadelphia when they drafted Carson Wentz. I'm sure people were like, "Well, who the hell's Carson Wentz? He hasn't won anything." Yes, he has. The kid's a 5-time national champion
Yeah, he
at
was
the
part of
FCS level,
five national championships.
and he is also
North
a
Dakota State.
demonstrated a winner. He is a winner at multiple seasons, not just one
Right.
that Trubisky was a part of.
Right.
He has demonstrated multiple
And
seasons.
at a lesser tier FBS school in North Carolina. It's not exactly like they're playing heavyweights out of the SEC. He hasn't demonstrated to me what a guy like Joe Burrow has currently. It's just not there. And so, you hate to be a naysayer. We saw this stupid meme over the weekend that the best place to coach is from a recliner or in the bleachers. That's where most of your best coaching comes from. Eat shit. I've watched enough games over the last 25 years that I know when I see good talent and when I don't. And I'm sorry, I don't feel the same way that CJ does about Matt Nagy. And maybe Matt Nagy needs to take a step back and say, you know what, we need to build something around Trubisky, something he can do, which is what he was doing last year. And it seems like they've tried to take a step forward, to try to go beyond what last year was, and they haven't been able to do it. And he hasn't taken the time to step back and say, damn it, Mitchell, you're not getting the job done. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. And I just assume at this point he dropped the hammer on Trubisky, and we finished the season with Chase Daniel. Because I would just rather see it happen with a guy that is at least as good as or with more experience than Mitchell Trubisky, and that is Chase Daniel. Because we only have 2 quarterbacks. There isn't anything after that.
Right.
So,
but then going forward, even if you do bring Chase Daniel in and finish the season off, is then Trubisky damaged goods?
yeah, I think so. I think he'll be gone. He'll be somebody else's backup, and we all know who's coming in after that.
What?
Come on, you know who they're coming from.
Are you talking about Cam?
Yeah. How would you like to see Cam Newton lining up with the Chicago
Well, I don't
Bears?
know. You seem to not fucking like him, so I mean, just what?
I like him more than Trubisky.
I'm sure you would.
Well, anyway,
yes,
I
because
mean-
he's an MVP.
Yeah.
He's clearly demonstrated that.
So, do you think who has the best shot of picking up the Burrows kid out of LSU?
At the number 1 seed, if it isn't Miami, I'm
I
going to
don't
be
know
very
if
disappointed.
Miami doesn't choose Joe Burrow there. Something wrong.
But you have to.
I don't-
It's the race to the bottom. Do you think Cincinnati will finish the season off with no wins.
Could
and
be.
Get that pick.
It could be Cincinnati could go with Joe Burrow. They could.
Unfortunately, though,
I mean,
am not.
that's perfect.
I'm not on the
kids
Joe
from,
Burrow train.
The
Still.
kids from
it's
Athens,
okay.
Ohio.
Yeah, I still think.
Ohio kid coming home.
Yeah, I
Playing
like
Cincinnati.
that. I like that. It could be. I think Joe Burrow goes number 1. I really do.
Here's the only thing I'll say about Joe Burrow is that he needed somebody else to come in to make him better with Joe Brady, who is their offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach.
He got beat out last year by Haskins. That's why he left Ohio State in the first place, right?
But I'm saying no. He played the previous year at LSU. He looked absolutely pitiful at LSU before Joe Brady came in.
Yeah. So what does that say then?
And that's what I'm saying about the NFL is that
So
if you can't adapt,
whoever,
see you later, buddy.
Yeah, whoever
They'll see
drafts
ya.
that kid is going to have to be a quarterbacks guy.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that in Arizona with Josh Rosen who came in. Kyler Murray
Is he awful
I
or
know.
what?
But Kyler Murray, he's in a lucky situation where he has an offensive-minded coach.
I think he's
who's in
actually
with him.
playing better. I think Kyler Murray's actually playing better than people expected.
Oh yeah,
And
no
it's not
question.
spectacular, but hey,
But I mean,
he doesn't have a whole lot around
weapons
him.
around. Yeah.
Right.
And
Larry Legend.
I
But
mean,
that's about it.
everything goes with how well an offensive line plays. It
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
Clarence and I had talked about Washington, and you can't win without a front.
No,
And
you
that
can't.
concludes defensive front and offensive front. And then they've drafted some pretty talented defensive front guys. You give Haskins a little protection. I don't know. Maybe he does.
Well,
maybe he does improve.
They've
maybe
got enough
things get
young.
better.
They got enough young.
Yeah, they do
players,
have young guys.
But if you can't keep
They got
the defense off them,
They got an idiot management, which
Yeah.
doesn't help those young
right.
guys.
Oh, speaking of idiot management, what do you think about the comments of Jerry Jones after Sunday's game about his coaching?
That they made mistakes.
Yeah.
I
Does that
think
open
that's
the-
been
is that-
coming.
Does that open the door for somebody to come into Dallas?
Could be. I think Jason Garrett, if he's not on the hot seat, I don't know who would be.
I mean,
He's
he
never
is,
on the fucking hot seat in Dallas.
Well, that's
they
true.
never kick him to the curb when
Do you
he
think
has
they
won
should, though?
one playoff game in his tenure.
So
you think
I'm-
they should? You think this
or do you
is-
think he has dirt on Jerry that's not?
he's got photographs of
Take a
Jerry,
photograph
and,
somewhere.
Well, if
Jerry and Geraldine?
Jerry
and
ain't going to get. Jerry's not going to get in trouble. Robert Kraft didn't get in trouble for
Well,
his
that's true. You're absolutely right
situation
about
down in
that.
Florida.
Yeah, because Robert Kraft was with a woman.
Yeah, and you think if Jerry Jones has dirt, he's
Maybe
not gonna
Jerry
get in
was
trouble.
with Geraldine or something.
Well,
Hi, Daddy.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, just reading some of the comments. There's somebody sitting
In the wings.
doing color work at the college level that could be sort of pulled into the NFL.
No
do you
way.
Think
Urban?
Do you think Meyer would? Go
No,
to
I hope
Dallas?
he goes to Notre Dame. I hope he goes home to Notre Dame.
You think so?
I hope.
I don't know.
Fuck Urban. That's what I gotta say about Urban. Okay.
Well,
He's a hell of a coach.
I mean,
I don't know if he's cut out for the NFL. I don't know if he would
Well,
want to do
Saban
that.
wasn't either. So
Yeah,
Saban went for the money,
yeah.
and then realized it's a different game and went
Yeah.
back to Alabama.
And he got more money at Alabama than he got in the NFL.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
All right, two more games real quick. What? Oh, okay. The Patriots right now are just like I'm happy that they beat the Cowboys, 13-9, but it really,
stellar, offensive game there.
yeah, they hold the Cowboys' number one offense to no touchdowns, and it just isn't getting. It just seems like how are they still fucking winning at this point? How are they winning? The Patriots just look awful on offense. They don't have any rhythm. Tom Brady doesn't look the same. I'm saying that for the first time because they do not look good on offense. They look fantastic and elite on defense. They really do. But when it comes to offense, they do not look good at all. And I don't know how they are 10-1 at this point or got to that record at this point.
Well, you have to look at it from the standpoint that who have they played?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
You have to think about that strength of schedule. They haven't played anybody really with a better than 5. I mean, the Cowboys came in with somewhat of a positive schedule, not much, but they haven't played anybody. They really haven't. I mean, they played Pittsburgh early on.
And Pittsburgh's a bad team.
Yeah.
Whichever way you look at
I
it,
mean,
they just are.
Yeah, so they really haven't played anybody yet. I mean, the only chink in that armor is when they play Baltimore, and Baltimore smoked their asses. But you watch the entire game, what's happening on the sideline? The Jedi Master over there is writing notes left and right. So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
So you know when it comes around, they're going to be prepared for that.
And at this point in time, they are still the number 1 seed, and Baltimore would have to go to New England at this rate.
Yeah, the way they play it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just is.
And I guess, I mean, and you hear it constantly in you know, how the media portrays it. You think that Tom Brady
Hey,
is
they played the Jets twice.
Well, okay. It almost sounds like Brady's on, you know, his hands and knees crawling on the carpet asking, you know, Gronk to come out of retirement to give him somebody. At the end, of course, the blow up about, you know, how Gronk said, well, I'm not coming back. And, you know, Tom just doesn't have the tools.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have it.
Oh, well, there's a lot of injuries racking up.
Well,
too,
you got
from
injury.
their offensive
Yeah.
line to the receivers. You know, it.
So, I mean,
The one thing that's holding them together is the Jedi Master. It's
Yeah,
Bill
yeah.
Belichick, and I'm sorry. The one reason why they are 10-1 is simply because of defense. It always comes down to defense, and when you have, quite frankly, maybe one of or the best defensive mind heading your club, you're going to win.
Yeah, you're going to win games, but the games aren't going to be stellar.
Right, and they're not going to be.
Well, think about the history of how, you know, Pittsburgh has always played. Pittsburgh never really had any real great stellar offenses over the years.
Right.
It's always been the strength of defense.
Right.
Offense gets you enough points to win.
I just watched, over the last 3 weeks, I watched Stephon Gilmore just lock down the best receiver from the other team. I mean, he held, what's his name from Dallas?
Amari Cooper didn't have a single catch.
He didn't have a single catch.
Oh, Mari who? I mean, because you never heard his name called during the game.
No, I know. And Stephon Gilmore had more catches than Amari
Yeah,
Cooper
an interception, yep.
Yep, picked him. So that's how you win games. In the NFL, that's how you win them.
All right, so quickly, one more game I want to talk about is how San Francisco has just basically, they're starting a gauntlet right now. They played Green Bay, who's a very good team.
Yep.
They're going to play Baltimore this weekend.
Could be
And then they're going to
interesting,
play
huh?
New Orleans the following weekend.
It'll be a good measure of what we're going to get out of them because I really like them. I really like what they're doing.
Could this game between San Francisco and Baltimore be a precursor to what the Super Bowl is going to look like?
I don't know. It's in Baltimore, honestly. And, yeah, you're probably right, but, like, the 49ers defense is just as good as the Patriots defense at this point.
Yep.
So I think that's an
And
outlier.
it's healthy.
Yeah, it's
Their
healthy.
offense is healthy.
Yeah.
And I hope to see the 49ers win because fuck Baltimore.
You know what the one thing that's a bright, shining spot for them? And it's, well, there are two shining spots. The first and most important one is bringing an experienced winner onto your defense, and that's Richard Sherman. Taking these young guys and showing them how to win, and then promoting somebody on the offense who was a veritable unknown, and that's George Kittle. That cat, he reminds me of a young freaking he reminds me of a young the guy Dallas just freaking
Jason
totally-
Witten.
Jason Witten. He reminds me of a young Jason Witten. You throw the ball within 3 yards of that cat, and he's making a catch. He is a huge shining star, and when Garoppolo has an opportunity when you have a tight end who can get open like that, that's no different than Tom Brady throwing to Gronkowski, because Kittle blocks. And he's just like having another wide receiver.
Well, isn't that the key of all today's
But
NFL
that's the huge-
offenses?
that's
is
the
the
biggest-
the safety blanket is that tight end.
That's
And
the biggest mismatch when you get Kittle on a linebacker, and it's matchups,
Yeah.
and he exploits those. And that kid is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I think that those are two big things. It'll be I'll be really curious to see what happens with Baltimore. I would not be surprised if the 49ers win by 2 touchdowns. I would not be surprised by that.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to get into a segment here, last off.
What do you
since
think?
we did Hops of the Week. Yeah, what do you think? You wanted to
Okay,
talk
so
about
we
it before.
we sat down and we've been talking about adding something to the show, and so we created a clip where we could sit down and we could watch and chuckle and make comments over the best plays of any particular week. And so this week we have the top 15 plays from Week 12 in the NFL, and we want to talk through them, and we'll select which ones our top 3 plays out of these. So if CJ's going to run it, you'll hear the commentating, and we'll pick it up from there. So make sure you hit a full screen. Give us a full screen. I know we don't have a camera, but we should add it to it. This was the security camera guy or security guard. Makes a one-hand catch over there. Made it look simple. He's holding a big armful of cable. How about this run from?
Poor tackling on the part of the Jets, right?
horrible.
There is
or the Eagles on
nothing
that.
more frustrating for a defensive coordinator or just a defensive line coach. Runs and big plays happen down the field, but when it's right up the fucking middle and your whole defense just isn't around the play, and then you get a guy who doesn't even tackle him, he pushes him into the end zone.
I mean,
That was called the catapult.
I mean, you're known as the coach.
That's
Whatever
awful.
happened
That
to
guy gets paid millions of dollars. That guy gets paid millions
of dollars and doesn't know how to wrap up.
Right.
And I mean, I'm a professor, but not in NFL.
This cat is an up-and-coming rising star. Huge. Bud Dupree.
Well, you can tell he's playing for a contract.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that earlier. Yeah,
his
he looks like
contract
he's
is
trying to
up.
catch.
He's looking for money, and he has been on fire.
And he's
this
been a big
season.
impact player. And I'll tell you what, Ryan Tannehill on that catch, that's not just a great catch and run, but that's Tannehill's having the best time of his career.
Do you think the Tennessee Titans can sneak in there?
How about that grab? How about that?
Like this game, the fact that the Lions lost, it just shows that because Haskins made a lot of bad throws, and this was one of them, and it still got
high.
caught.
It's high because he's throwing off his back foot. But the fact that the receiver is making an effort to make the ball. Look at his hand extended.
I can't dream being that big.
Baker Mayfield. OBJ.
It's against Miami. Who
my
fucking cares?
Well, I tell you what. I mean, if you were a Cleveland fan, you'd think, "Oh, that's the second coming."
It's
right
about
there.
time.
Yeah.
It was a great throw. Hey, we always talk about the hit and pause, CJ. We always talk about this. Even at the high school level, we talk about this. If we can't catch it, they can't catch it. And that ball being thrown to OBJ, nobody else is making that catch. Odell Beckham is going to make that catch, or no one else is going to make it. And that's the quality throw that Baker Mayfield can do, but it's not there all the time.
Is that what everybody in Cleveland has dreamed of? That
Yeah, I think
putting
so.
40. I mean, even though you're playing Miami, you
Right.
put 40 up on the board. That's what people in Cleveland
Right.
are dreaming about.
Yeah.
The question
Dogtown
is-
going wild.
The question is, can they get enough
No,
of a run here?
no,
at the
they're
end?
not. I don't think they're
so.
disciplined enough.
I don't think so.
CJ and I have argued that Freddie Kitchens and that staff, they have a bunch of undisciplined players, and undisciplined will get you killed in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, it will.
And when they get into the playoffs,
And it starts with their quarterback.
it does.
too.
It really does.
He's a
And-
loose cannon.
Yes,
He really is.
And he's that's a double-edged sword. The loose cannon can help get you to the next level, but he can get your ass canceled in the next level just as fast as you got there.
Oh, definitely.
And nobody cares about the
It's
Jets.
the Raiders and Jets. Who
I
cares?
know, but
Oh, look, there's Richie Incognito right there
Yeah.
on screen.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
Tom Brady, N'Keal Harry, his first NFL touchdown. Nice back shoulder throw, and we watched him, and then you see his last foot drag in. Boom, right there. Hell of a catch. Oh, this guy's
guy
a man.
just gets that
I love
that
him.
gets no love still.
He doesn't. Look at him stiff arming the whole way.
Could Tennessee sneak in?
That
and-
happened
and
last
be,
year.
Yeah.
Could Tennessee sneak in?
Maybe.
And be there.
I'm telling you, Ryan Tannehill's playing the best freaking football in his career right now.
So what's that say about Mariota there?
He's glass, and he's going to be short-lived. I'm not going to lie, this is a good play, but when your kicker gives up like a girl in a skirt. That ain't good. And that shit right there, your team hasn't done dick. And when you start celebrating and say, hey, me, well, that's a death now.
Oh, yeah, the
Here it
duck.
comes.
Here's the duck.
Quack, 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 quack.
Oh, I love this stiff arm. Watch this. Sit down. Sit down. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's
Oh
not
my
an
God.
interception, is it?
Oh, my God, no.
Oh, what?
He actually thread the needle there.
I thought it would have been an interception. Wow. What a throw.
And that's another quarter.
This game is still on here?
Oh.
Well, is that Le'Veon? Yeah, okay.
Oh, my flea flicker. Hell of a catch.
Dinks it in there.
That's the Philadelphia special, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or no, it's
No,
not. the
that's
Philly.
not Philly.
Yeah.
Well, it's close enough.
All right, what's number 1? Oh, yeah.
Ty Boyd. Look at the hold, too. Oh, on his shoulder. All right. Top 3. What do you got?
Well, I tell you what. I mean, being a Pittsburgh guy, I definitely have to put in Duck's first throw. Goes downfield, hits a long pass, touchdown. And you're talking about third.
He's now 2-0 and playing. Well, no, he's 2-1. He came in the Baltimore game, but yeah.
So I mean, Tomlin's got to stay with him.
Yeah,
He-
I think so.
Oh,
We-
it's already
we-
been confirmed that
Yeah,
he's starting.
He's
now.
starting.
Yay.
It's already been confirmed.
Quack,
The,
quack,
the-
quack,
the
quack.
Duck is now. Is he heir apparent? I don't know.
I don't think so.
He's going to get first team reps though now.
Yeah.
You got to give him. That's the thing that you didn't see him last week is that he didn't get first team reps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mason
And-
Rudolph's getting all the hot stuff with the $50,000 fine and,
And the padded helmet.
also being hit in the head. Like it
And
happens.
the glass jaw. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Derrick Henry's run. Got to be there for me.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any. Yeah, I don't have any question about that. Like, I've seen that multiple times against Jacksonville that has happened.
Derrick Henry's a man.
He is the epitome of a man. The
He's
picture
6'3",
of him
240.
standing next to Mark Ingram,
6'3",
and they're both
240
Heisman
running.
winners. It's like you were a running back, Mark Ingram.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
come on.
Yep.
And then Derrick Henry has what, the record for most touchdowns in high school or whatever.
I don't know. It's a pile of them. I think he rushed for like 16,000 yards in high school.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I'll look it up real
So
quick.
the what was
I love the Le'Veon Bell catch myself.
I like the Jameis Winston throw, the one where he threads the needle
Threads it,
between two
yeah.
defenders.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Derrick Henry's a man.
And then I would have to say the other one has to be the Le'Veon Bell catch.
Yeah.
Because that's been going on for a long time that he makes those catches.
Oh,
He
definitely.
just has. So those are my 3.
Yeah. Derrick Henry ran for a total of 12,124 yards. 12,000 yards in high school.
high school.
That's
Where'd he play?
freshman is. I'm looking really fast and it's going slow and it shouldn't be. And he went to.
Jesus Christ,
I'm
man.
sorry,
Pick it
dude.
up.
I'm sorry. I'm looking, and I can't find it.
This guy would be awful in a museum. He
I
would
know,
have to
I
look
would be.
shit up on his phone, and he would still not be able to find it.
Well-
Well, and if he's anything like my father-in-law, you got to read every damn thing that's posted with every picture, and everything in the museum.
Sorry.
So it takes like 45.
He went
minutes.
to Yulee High School in Florida. Yulee High School in Florida.
Is that down towards Miami?
I
Oh well, of course I'd ask you a
sorry.
geography question.
Yeah.
No, he's going to look that shit up. Stop it.
It's a geography
Stop making him look stuff up.
I'm looking the coordinates up.
GPS.
I should.
So do you have anything else, Coach,
Dude, he
then,
had
for those?
12,000 yards rushing. 12,000. He's 6'3", 247. That is a fucking man running the ball. I'm sorry. He scored 154 touchdowns in his
high school?
career. He carried the ball 1,397 times. Why didn't he carry the ball 2,000 times? That's crazy. Well, that's
Anything else,
never mind.
Coach?
I don't have anything else. It's a good show. Professor, thanks for coming on
Hey,
board.
I enjoyed every minute of it. I don't get this on a regular weekend. You know?
No,
So it's
And the wife told me to keep you too.
Yeah, that was the other positive. Yeah, she said no curfew. I mean, oh my God, yeah, this is great. Yeah.
Probably take a bubble bath or something. I don't know.
No. It's got to prepare, for the holiday. The whole 9 yards where you got to think, well, how am I going to feed? This. I don't want to know that shit.
No,
Just tell me when dinner's served and
Yep.
I'll show up.
I'll wake up from my nap. And I may or may
then
not
watch-
shower.
And then watch the, because the first game between, the Lions and whoever.
The Bears. It's the
Okay,
Bears on
okay,
the afternoon.
Okay, I'll
yeah.
try to be
All
quiet.
right, so it's who's the
So
first
it's
game?
watch
Let's
the
do that real
Winchester
quick.
or
It's
the
Lions
Wis-
versus the Bears.
First game.
Then you got Cowboys versus. I know the Saints and Falcons is the last one.
Yeah, that sounds like that's going to be the best game.
The
on-
Saints and
on Saturday.
Falcons?
Hey, you never know which
You never
Falcons
know-
team's going to show
Yeah,
up.
you never know which.
I know. Is it going to be the
Lion-
one where Dan Quinn's going to get fired, or the Dan Quinn's like, shit, I got to win? You never know which one you're going
Or
to
I want a
get.
paycheck next week.
Yeah.
It's Bills. It's Bills and Cowboys.
Oh, you know
Bills
what?
and Cal-
They're
Where are
gonna
they
be a
playing? They
sleeper.
playing in
it's in
Dallas.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving. It's got to
You
be
know
in
what?
Thanksgiving.
I'm telling you what. This is where freaking Jason Garrett gets fired. This
If he
Thursday,
loses-
he gets fired because the Buffalo Bills are going to come in there, whip ass, and he's going to get fired.
Dallas Cowboys are no different than the Cincinnati Bengals because Marvin Lewis was the head coach for 35, 70 years at Cincinnati and never won a damn
Hey, the
thing.
Bills are what,
so.
7-3 now? Come
Yeah,
on.
They're a wild card team right now.
Yep.
So anything else from you guys?
No, eat shit.
I was just
You want me
asking.
to add something else?
I was just asking.
Don't
How
ask.
big of a turkey did you buy?
We didn't buy one.
We're going up somewhere.
We're going to my brother's house.
Oh, well, okay.
What
Moocher.
were you
That's
about
a
to
bit-
say?
I was going to say, you lazy asses. Didn't even go out and buy turkey.
And you know, no.
Okay, but if you're mooching off somebody else, that's
yeah,
even
hell
better.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Yeah.
CJ goes, "What'd you say?"
You can't cuss on this show. Fucking asshole. All right.
Thanks for coming.
All
From
right,
all
I
of us here
appreciate
at
it.
Pub-
appreciate it.
Thank you
We'll
very
bring
much.
you back. Holy
Oh,
shit, it was good.
It was great.
From all of us here at Pub Talk, have a safe week. Eat some turkey, eat some stuffing, eat a whole bunch of stuff, and enjoy your week off because we'll be back here next week. We hope you have a safe week and a good Thanksgiving holiday. As always, peace out, guys. Love you.
Hey, love you guys.